Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Spin Rack. I'm here with my boy, Cal. Say what's up, Cal.
Hey, what's going on? Ready to rock.
Hey, so the new Peacock channel finally dropped the latest Will Smith Westbrook Studios show. What is it called? The Bel-Air, not even the Fresh Prince, the Bel-Air. And so Cal and I've seen the first episode, and we are giving our review of what we think so far of it. You know, is it what we expected? Is it not? You know, hey, we all know the basic story. You know, Will Smith, that's the actual name of the characters, Will Smith. He's coming from Philly. He gets in an altercation with a drug dealer at a basketball game. And so his mother sends him out to California, Bel-Air, you know. So whereas the original was a comedy, this one is more a drama. So the question is this what we think? So far, I've seen some mixed reviews on this. Is it expectation? Is it the show itself? Let's talk about it. So Cal, you've seen the first episode. Before we start anything, what do you think of the main character as the Fresh Prince himself?
I think he's adequate for what they're trying to do on this show.
I think it was great casting. I think he hits the mark. He is really the character, the Fresh Prince, and I think that he's going to do well going forward. You know, that's my take on it. But overall, what about the rest of the show? What's your take on the rest of the show coming up?
Oh man, this is like I mean, this is something I would have expected to see on TV One or BET, to be quite frank. Like a Tyler Perry thing, maybe one of these dramas where everybody's got a secret. The secret is life-threatening, and yet, you know, we're not life-threatening, but this is something that could upset, you know, the whole status quo of what these people want, lose their money, lose their power, all of this other type of stuff. And yet, these secrets that are so important, everybody keeps finding out about them. So that's, you know, that's kind of the foundation of the drama. Not saying that that's what I've seen so far on the show, but that's the feel that I get of it. It's very hyper realistic, if you will, and it's a grand departure. It's a grand departure from the original series. So I mean, I think you know, from what I'm hearing, a lot of the I talk with some younger people. So you know, a lot of the cats, teenagers, like they're all in it. They're like, this is 10 out of 10. They've been spreading the word, lighting them up, like, yo, you got to do this. You got to go talk to your father. If you don't have premium, tell your father to give her $5 so you can watch the show. You know, you got to do all this stuff. You know, so I heard some word of mouth there. I was like, okay, these kids really like it. You know, for me, I have to say that so far it's a lot of it's more of the same.
Yeah, you know, it's a drastic departure. I was not a huge watcher of Fresh Prince, but we did see a lot of the stuff throughout I mean, because it's been around, it's been on television for years upon years. And so you basically understand the basic setup of the show and who the main characters are. In this actually started off as, I think we said this before, by a guy named Morgan Cooper, who did a fan film. And he published his fan film it was only like, I think, 15 minutes, probably less. He published his fan film to YouTube. And within 48 hours, I think, according to Will Smith, he's seen it. I mean, he got so many uploads, and he was like, yo, we got to do something. And so this was their take of a more drama-heavy Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
I think he said, yeah, we gotta own that.
So
he's like, what? We gotta own that.
The funny thing is, when you see Morgan Cooper's version of it, you know, I find it, and of course, I could be taking this totally wrong. I found the casting a bit more spot on than I found it here. So when I'm looking at this show, you know, the reimagining of Carlton to me is just such a big mess, because Carlton was one of the biggest characters in the show with Will. I mean, they had a connection where they'll joke against each other and fight and argue, but they still came together. In the end, they were brothers. And here, and probably this probably will eventually happen in the show. But there was a comedic aspect to Carlton that everybody liked. Of course, everybody knows the Carlton dance and stuff like that, and we're not going to get that here, clearly. But whereas the character who plays the person who plays the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you see him, actually he looks like Will Smith. You see a younger version of him. You see the dynamic, the way he draws people in and stuff like that. But you're not getting the same thing from the Carlton. Like, he's trying too hard. And I think that was an intentional choice. They decided, hey, let's go totally different. We want to do a different type of Carlton. I mean, what kind of shocked me, threw me off completely, and this is why I'm bringing this up, is that, you know, here you have Carlton taking drugs. And I'm like, what? I mean, I didn't watch every episode, but I don't ever remember that happening. You know, I mean, issues with Carlton, other things, you know, trying to please his father and stuff like that. But that I was like totally taken aback, and that was, to me, was one of the main drawbacks I had in the whole show. It's like I, you know, come on. I mean, at the very least, yeah. Do you want to make this into the new 901-210, or what is the new? I don't want to say Archie, because, but something along those lines. And you want to bring all these things the kids are having. You can have a drama, you know, and you can have, you know, issues happening. But why do we have to? It's like you're making it seem if you go to Bel Air or California, you're going to be involved in drugs. I don't think everybody does, and I think this is the problem that Hollywood has. Of, hey,
But that's good drama for
what
them, at least. I mean, here's the thing, and I sorry to cut, but what you just said right there is really telling, because see, if this was like an urban thing and it was all this drugs, people were like, oh, that's terrible. But then we go to this place, they're like, oh yeah, drugs. So that is just par for the course. They want drama. We're gonna throw some drugs in there. We'll throw some. Trust me, we'll probably see some gang stuff. All that stuff where they can create some drama.
we already saw the gang. We already saw.
I thought that was light. No, I thought that was the light stuff. I'm talking about the Bel-Air gangs.
What Bel-Air gangs?
Okay, the Bel-Air gangsters.
The Bel-Air gangsters, the mob versus the Beverly Hill mob. Nah, yeah, probably in Cat or something like that.
I don't like the fact that they're going to try to play Carlton and make him out to be some whitewash sellout, because Carlton on the original series, that's just who Carlton was. Okay, that's just who Carlton was. He was, he's black, but he's raised in Bel-Air, and this was not somebody who was a sellout, or anything of that nature. Carlton was just Carlton. Carlton liked the music that he liked. He danced the way that he danced. Okay, and that's who he was. He wasn't trying to be anything. That's just who he was. There was an episode where they addressed that. Why I really appreciated that episode, because these guys, he was trying to pledge a black fraternity, and they're giving him grief. And they're like, look, you guys are talking about you don't want to be judged, and you're judging him, and that's just who he is. He's being himself. Whereas over here, they're positioning him to be something else, and I didn't particularly care for that. But that also leads to the fact that this show has a big lead in terms of the show that inspires it, which is the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And it becomes really, they really have to establish themselves. It's only been a few episodes, 3 or 4. And they really have to establish themselves as something more, something distinct from their origins, because if not, it becomes this comparison. And it's really hard to surpass the original. It just is, especially if everybody liked the original.
I mean, look, I don't know what to make of it. I'm just hoping that that they can turn this around. I don't want to say turn around. I say we need to give it more time. I'm not going to diss it. I think the casting, most of the casting, I think is spot on. I like the new Uncle Phil. I like the Aunt Viv. I'm still, the sister. I'm like, yo, she's cooking. Like what the fudge? Carlton's sister. What's her name again? I can't believe I forgot her name.
Hillary.
Hillary's cooking. I'm like, what? Hillary wants to be a career as a cook. We never got that. And probably, she did become a news person after a while. But I'm not knocking it. I think it could work. Just give it some more time. And the location, I think, is great. I just think that you're trying to be hyper real, and I think sometimes it may backfire on you. But let's give it time and see what happens. Brian may be totally changed on what's going on. There's several other actors who are going to be coming in recurring roles. I like the way how they when I saw the whole Philadelphia experience, that kind of reminded me of when we were growing up. Where we experienced something like that. Of course, they didn't throw a ball at a drug dealer, but things like that did happen. So that's one of the reasons why your parents want to see you do better and go into a better neighborhood. I remember some of my friends going away to what was this?
That's why my parents wouldn't let me hang out with you. So,
but those schools that they used to send the kids away to, what are they called?
Sleepaway? No, not boarding school.
The boarding schools, a couple of people that I knew who went to boarding schools, because their parents wanted them totally out the neighborhood. And even now, some people have their kids going to boarding schools. It's interesting. But another thing too that got me is that the very fact that Uncle Phil, who is not a judge, right? So now he's running for the DA. So there's another element of drama in there. and the very fact that he had to pull some strings, which may come back to bite him, for to get Will out of jail, basically, without the same thing happens to some of the others, and which is causing some of the backlash, because they're like, yo, why did he get out? Is he snitching? Is he, whatever is going on? And one of the reasons why his mother wants him out of West Philly, I mean, even though he's repping it hard. What about Jazzy? What do you think about that? How do you think about the casting of Jazzy?
I don't. I mean, I think the casting is fine. I don't really have too much of an issue with any of that. Casting, I think, is adequate for what they want to do.
Okay. So other than Carlton, everything else is okay with you.
Well, that's not even the casting. That's just an issue of what they decided to do with his character.
Okay.
And the perception, or how they're trying to label the character of Carlton. And then they're like, well, let's bring it to over here. And I was like, Carlton was never like that. Carlton was not I think that there would have never been an episode where Carlton would have been there and everybody's like chanting the N-word and he's just like, oh, I'm just going with it. I don't believe Carlton, as corny as Carlton's character may have come off to everybody, Carlton wasn't oblivious to how the world worked.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I thought I did just a little pretty hard on Charlton. So one of the things that's interesting is that it seems that this season is going to have like just 4 episodes. So basically, this is like a 4-hour movie. That's what it looks like. It's not going to be like the old sitcom or 22 episodes or something like that. So it's going to be fairly fast. And also, they said that there's going to be 2 seasons. So this is the first season, and we'll have another season coming up. What do you think about that? You cool with that?
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, the numbers, I think it's great when you have a situation like that where the numbers, are that healthy before the show has even come out, and you can say, okay, great. We can look forward to a second season. I think that's good for the network, actors, for the writers. So they know, okay, good. We've got some room to play around with it. But in the same breath, got to see what they do and if they deliver. Hello? Hello?
Okay, we're back in. So, as you were saying, Kyle.
What was I saying? we lost connectivity for a second.
Well, I don't hear you on the show. I don't hear you on the show. Talk through the show on video. Can't hear you on the show. Cal.